Hey everyone, welcome into the Dad Verb Podcast, where we chat about parenting from the lens of a dad. Episode number 9 we're at right now. Is that right? We're at 9 right now, right, Ben?
I think we're at 9. We're almost in the double digits. One more
Dude,
to go.
look at that, man. Look at
Crushing
us.
them.
Look at us. That's I'm thinking of
Who'd have
that Paul
Who'd have
Rudd
thought?
meme right there. But Ben, how's your week been, man? How are we holding up? Is everyone healthy? That's the game we like to play. Is everyone healthy?
Yeah, we have made it another week without any sickness. Fingers crossed. Knock on my wood desk here. We've made it another week. We've got some family plans coming up, so hopefully that holds true. Personally, just working on some, one, raising the kids and surviving the new one, who has decided to do this new fun thing where she just screams uncontrollably when she's tired. It's so new behavior at 7 or 8 weeks. Yeah, super fun. So that was a difficult one to figure out, but I think we've kind of got that one handled. And then personally, just working on some more content. So that's a big thing. Working on a quick review for a company called Guardian Bikes, which I'm super excited about.
Dude, Guardian, they've been reaching out to me too, but I feel like I don't know if it's something that we want to pursue widely because our kids are just not the best bike riders. But maybe that would be a good video of just them what they are. They're lazy peddlers. Like they just don't want to put your foot down, boy, and they just won't do it. I'm like, gosh. So I'm like, guys, I think Guardian Bikes is a really cool brand. And they're not a sponsor, guys.
No.
I think they're a really cool brand. But I'm just like, I don't know that I would do you guys justice. Because like my kids just suck at riding bikes right now. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're gonna throw our 2-year-old on one of their balance bikes and see how it does. So we got more information coming up on that. So working on that review.
Nice.
And then also working on a quick review of the Cubo AI monitor, their whole sleep system.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be testing that out over the next couple of weeks to see if we like it. Really, we're gonna see if it stands up to the Miku, which we've loved so far. But really we want to see, is it a good sleep system? Is it going to work well? At least in my opinion, for other parents out there who might be looking for something a little more advanced than just a normal baby monitor.
I reviewed it a while back and I'm not trying to sway your opinion here, but I thought it was actually a pretty good system. I think what it just comes down to is kind of like personal preference about do you like monitoring with that pad that kind of goes under the crib or where they do like micro movements, or are you more the kind of that, because Miku has like this sensor fusion technology where they're basically like utilizing like radar to like get all the vitals and metrics from your baby. It's freaking wild, the technology that we have access to right now. And I get how it kind of like totally creeps parents out who might be listening to this and be like, no, you don't need any of that. It's freaking garbage.
Yeah,
but
just
no,
look at their chest and see if it's moving.
Right.
They're still alive. They're good. I've done.
Put my finger under their nose. Like, is there breathing? So
the monitor says they are, so he must be good.
I'm excited to see your review, though, man. I think it'll be cool.
I think it should be good.
Just unfortunately, we cannot say that we've had 0 weeks of a clean sheet for health, because my kiddo has some sort of eye infection. So he's on antibiotic drops right now. And then he started coughing a ton, and he's in bed right now in a separate room because he says that he doesn't feel well. So,
poor kid.
yay! That's where we are. So that's our fun game. Are we healthy? And right now
we're gonna wipe the slate.
No, gosh, nine episodes of this podcast, and 1, maybe 2, we've said that we were healthy. I don't know.
2. Yeah, I think 2. I think there have been 2 where both your family and my family were completely healthy. I think almost every other one has been some sort of cough, allergies, whatever it is, something gross going
ridiculous.
Around.
Yeah.
This
my
is
gosh.
parenting.
This is parenting. Well, on this episode, we're gonna be I'm gonna be tossing Ben a couple awkward parenting scenarios. And we're gonna try to have a little fun with it, but also like seriously, like what do you do in this situation? And we'll see what we can get here. And then after that, we're going to be chatting with Ben about a conversation that he was having with his wife about mom's doing mom things and then dad's doing things and then getting praise for it. But then do we actually need the praise for it? Ben can elaborate a little bit better when we get there. But I think it'll be a fun topic for us. But just real quick, You mentioned, so how old is baby now?
She was 7 weeks this past Friday, so she'll be 8 weeks this Friday.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, we're
8 weeks.
coming up on 2 months, which is kind of insane.
Dude, okay. This is amazing. Okay, so we in the last 8 weeks, right, with you included,
Yeah.
our father figure group, I think we've had 7, 8 babies in the father figure, or we,
wow.
our course community.
Yeah.
So actually, no, in the last week alone, a little bit more than a week, about 10 days alone, there have been, I think 6 or 7 births, guys who have become dads for the first time. It was
crazy.
Brett B, Christian H. We got we had a buddy of mine. He's not part of the community. He just had a baby 2 days ago. And then Nick H, his baby is due later this week. I'm blanking on some of the other names here, but I just want to say congratulations to all the guys who are in our dad community that are expecting babies. Like, it just literally in the last few weeks, it's been insane. But in the last like 10 days, having like 5, 6, 7 babies, I'm just so excited, so happy for the guys who are out there going through these major transformations.
Especially seeing those first-time dads. I mean, I think second-time dad is cool. It's really awesome. I love both my kids, but there's nothing like the experience of being a first-time dad and just everything that comes with that. So, yeah, definite congratulations to everybody in the Discord and in the community that's experiencing that for the first time. And, hopefully we'll do that group some justice and help them out along the way.
I really hope so. I feel bad. I've been a little bit disengaged from the Discord lately because I just been so focused on content. It's a gross 2-headed monster. What's the phrase? Double-edged sword, 3-headed monster. I don't know, but I just feel so overwhelmed. Like, gosh, I have to keep up with content, but I also have to I want to be there to help the guys. But luckily, the community has been able to help step up and there are questions that fly in and guys step up and be like, hey, we got some thoughts here. So. It's great. It goes beyond me. It's a community of men, and I'm happy to be part of it. It's great. And oh yeah, on that note, to my buddy Phil, if you're listening, man, congratulations to you, man. I've always known that you were going to be a great dad, and he's sending me these pictures of him doing skin to skin with his kiddo, and it's just been a long time coming. So we're just so happy, man. Just so happy that he was able to make that transformation. It's legit. It really is cool to see these guys. But Ben, do you want to dive into some awkward situations?
Yeah. Oh, I love a good awkward situation. Let's get weird with it.
All right. So we're gonna have maybe we'll do do 3 scenarios here, and then just want to field it to you. What do you do? What is your approach to diffuse the situation, the tension, the awkwardness, and maybe we can go back and forth. Because to be honest with you, I'm bad at this, man. I'm just bad at this. So
not good at the awkward scenarios.
Yep. Exactly. So let's do this first one. Okay, I'm not reading anything here. I'm just gonna toss it to you. Okay, you're at a birthday party. Okay, sure. Your kid, it's the parents are talking on the first floor. All the kids are upstairs just playing. Right, it's at someone's house, and your kid walks down, butt naked. Right, boy out, everything. Just like, hey, what's up? I want cake, and you're just like, you need to put clothes on, son. No, this is what I want. All right. And mind you, let's set the age, right? Toddler age, right? 3, 4. Right. They're still in that kind of like naked is fine. It's just butts. It's whatever.
Yeah. They're big enough to fully remove their clothes and know that they, enjoy the freedom.
Right. But you got 10 other kids here. You got, 20 adults all just watching this situation unfold of this kid storming down and like refusing. No. I want to be naked, Dad. This is it. Okay. It's highly inappropriate, obviously, right? 3, 4-year-old. What do you do? Is that a teaching moment? Is that no, we're leaving. What do you do?
So I think first of all, in any awkward situation like this, you got to realize that 80, if not 90, if not 100% of the other parents at that gathering have probably been in a similar situation, right? Their kid's been awkwardly naked somewhere where they shouldn't have been, right? And refused to put clothes on. It just happens to be your turn to be embarrassed in front of everybody. Secondly, I think that is, I would say, a teaching moment where it's like, okay, I understand you don't want to wear clothes. We do have, certain rules and norms that we probably need to observe and have respect for the people's home that we're in because we are guests. They may not appreciate you being naked and walking around their house. And if that doesn't work, then we go with bribery, right? Hey, you know what? You want an extra piece of cake? Let's at least put your pull-up back on, your underwear back on, whatever it is. Like maybe throw on a shirt too. You don't want to wear pants? Maybe we'll just stick no pants, extra piece of cake, put on a shirt. Everybody's good, I think that's how we go with it.
You know what's funny?
What can you do?
It's like in every sort of like parenting blog or parenting expert or whatever, like you'll hear like bribing is not the way to do it. Okay. You don't like, bribes and M&Ms and sticker charts and any sort of bribery. That's not the thing to do. But like at some point, all of us as parents like default to that. Like, 100%. No, we're going to make a bribe and guess what's going to work.
Yeah. I'll bribe. I'll bribe him if I need to. If I need to get out the door and he won't leave without a piece of candy and it's like 7 a.m., guess who's getting a piece of candy?
Yeah.
Because I need to get out. I have places to be.
Yep.
And it's like at the end of the day, it's not going to kill him. It's a piece of candy. It's fine. He's going to forget about it. Like, does it encourage that behavior? Probably. I'm sure there's some kind of psychologist that's going to tell me I'm doing it wrong or parenting expert. Right. You know what? We all live in the real world and we have places to be and things to do. And if that Twizzler gets him out the door, then let's go.
Oh man. No, I mean, I'm in agreement with you though. It's like bribes, like it's probably not the best course of action, but like I've done it and great results. Results.
It works, man. We're all trying to survive.
If my son was throwing a temper tantrum butt naked, and it's highly inappropriate, I probably would have I guess somewhat similar course of action. I would definitely gather up the clothes, take him to a side room, have a chat. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's the first thing. Just like, all right, we got to step out. Okay. We're not leaving the party just yet. We're going to try to have a teaching moment here. Okay. Now, the thing ideally that would happen is you chat with him, you kind of explain, why it's, why we don't do this. We're it's not our house. We're guests. Another thing this is a little side topic. Another thing that I've heard people talk about is like, don't address privates as kind of like, that's your wee, that's your little benga, that's it's like
never
it's a penis, right? Mm-hmm. And she has a vagina. Right. And being open about that, because the more you mask it, the more it's like you kind of create this culture of like, sacred or whatever. And if ever someone ever touches
or like
it,
shame or that's the big one.
That's the big one.
If there's ever an issue where somebody touches them inappropriately, as much as you don't want to think that could be something that happens, you want them to be able to express what happened in the appropriate language so that you know exactly what's going on.
Exactly. And they can be very open about that. If like a stranger, whatever, they're just, it's like, that's my penis. You're going to touch my penis, or like that, like that strong verbiage. And I know like people who might be listening to is like, what the hell, what are you talking about? But read into it. It's good to address their privates as what they are. Okay. Don't mask it with any sort of silly names. But anyway, back to the situation at hand. I would probably, say like, hey, we're not going to have our penis out, our butts out with people around. It's just not what we do. We'd have that teaching moment. And then, we'd try to get our clothes back on, resume course of action, have a laugh about it with the parents, whatever. It's a story. Yeah. But the tougher thing is when like a tantrum comes, like, no. Like, I want to be like this. We're not doing whatever. That's when personally for me, I would probably just go to whoever parent's house it is, or, whether it's your buddy or whoever, just like, hey, man, listen, like this situation completely devolved. I can't really bring them down right now.
It is we are really going downhill.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd probably, this is just me. I don't know if other people would do it differently, but I would just say like, if the tantrum's going, like, I'm not going to let my kid's tantrum ruin another kid's birthday or the experience of other kids who are, just trying to have a good time. Sure. So I would probably just if I can't diffuse it after a long time, just up and leave. I'm like, hey man, here's the gift. I'm sorry about this. I hope you have a great time. We'll catch up with you later, and just remove them from the situation altogether. That's me. If it got too out of hand, because I don't know if I could bring them down.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's an understandable response, right? Like, I think so many people um, will just sort of let their kids throw a tantrum, which sometimes there's
No.
nothing you can do about it. But
Yeah.
what's the guidance, right? Is like comfort them because they're essentially their brain is disconnecting from their body at that point. Um, so if you can't get them out of it, more than likely it's that they're overtired, they're overstimulated. There's something that is calling you to probably remove them from that situation. At least take them to the car for a minute, let them
Right.
calm down in a neutral space or
Yep.
somewhere they're familiar with, and then maybe they can go back in. But if not, then we try again, right?
There you go. There you go. All right. You ready for situation number 2?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Okay. You have an older kid. They're teenagers, right? Maybe preteen, older kid, whatever. And your son is playing basketball at a friend's house. A couple kids, they're playing basketball, and it's an adjustable hoop, right? Not
Right.
the hoop that cranks adjustment. I'm talking
Right.
about like you press like that, kind of like that trigger, and it slides up and down, know? So they're adjusting it from 7 feet to 10 foot, and they're playing basketball. Now your son, he is making the adjustment on the hoop, finger slips, and tip of his finger gets amputated straight off because the little sliding mechanism, just
Right.
unfortunate situation, rolled over it, right? Okay. So you got to go to urgent care, or not urgent care, you got to go emergency room, you got to get it, whatever. Unfortunately, they can't save the little piece that flew off. Your finger, son, is amputated, and it's a bad situation, okay?
Right.
Medical bills cost, all that stuff come in, okay? It's painfully expensive. And now you have the option to, and all this happened at the kid's friend's property. You're not your property,
Right,
the other property
right.
that they were at, right? It happened there. You have the option to kind of take this to court because it
Right.
technically, there was a situation, we don't know full details,
Right,
and it's and the other family could be liable technically,
Sure.
like legally speaking, they could be liable. What do you do? What is your course of action in dealing with that family? Taking it to court, yes or no? Do you front the costs altogether for that situation? What do you do?
So I think personally, and maybe this is sort of how and where I grew up, right? I grew up in a very, very small town, super rural, lots of huge farms, and bit of background with that comes a lot of like farm accidents, right?
Yep.
Like literally kids would like somebody would lose an arm like every year in like a thresher or something crazy. Like, people literally died farming like fairly regularly. So I give that context to say somebody losing a fingertip in a basketball hoop, one, yes, it's expensive and that is a painful thing to bear. Secondarily, somebody's lost a finger. That's not a great situation.
Yep.
It's not going to be something that I think is probably life altering when I really think about it. But what could be life altering is me suing someone else's parents or suing someone else's homeowner's insurance, right? Especially if that's someone that my kid is going to have to be around for the next, 15, 16 years, however long it is, until they're out of school. So what I try to think about is not necessarily just the situation which has happened, it's over, it's sort of out of our control. It sounds like it's purely an accident. Why try to, unless someone was seriously injured and you have kept them from, earning a livelihood or something,
Right.
or caused a death or whatever. Like at that point, it's like, it is what it is. People have accidents. I don't really see a need to carry it any further, or potentially, ruin a friendship, ruin a relationship, make your kid an outcast among other kids.
Right,
Excuse
right.
me, because, my parents sued his parents because my hand slipped and my finger came off.
Yeah.
Like, not great.
So it's kind of a random situation that I posed to you, but the reason why I ask it because it actually happened to someone on my wife's side on the family when they were younger. And the way that whole situation played out was, I think medical bills were somewhere in the 6 figures. It was insane.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to mediate it with the family,
Right.
but what ended up happening was things went south,
Right.
and the family, on my wife's side, it's like cousins far away. But what ended up happening is and it was their son that got their finger chopped off on someone else's basketball hoop. What they ended up having to do was, I believe, they took him to court and they sued them because everything happened on their property, and they
Right.
I think they claimed like the parents are being like negligent or whatever.
Ugh.
And they were like really close to this family too. And they full on, and I think the other family was just like, no, this isn't our fault. Like, it was an accident that happened. Sure, it was on our property, but like, I mean, why is that our fault? And it was like this big fight, and they thought that they should at least, have some sort of coverage for the medical bills or split it or something like that. And they just, family of the kid who got who got the finger chopped off, fully just sued the family, and it was like this big situation, and there's a massive falling out. They totally burned all the bridges, and I think they shortly moved out of that town altogether. Not because of that, but I think it was just kind of, they found a reason to move out, and they had to not address them or that situation anymore.
And I feel like if you're in those situations, it's like, again, you have to think about what's more detrimental. First of all, as much as you can, try to have good insurance.
Yeah.
Like, just anybody out there, like, insurance is, especially, in the country we live in, like, things are tremendously expensive, even if you have really good insurance. Second of all, you have to think about the long-term sort of implications and outcomes of what you're doing. So it might feel really good and like you're protecting your kid to go sue somebody for them losing the end of their finger.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, is that really going to, you've essentially ruined that relationship with that family. You've ruined the relationship with their friends. You potentially made them sort of a social pariah among other kids. Because, I mean, who's going to want to play with them or hang out with them if they know, their parents sue people when this kid gets hurt?
Right.
That's not really someone that people are going to want to be around. And that seems to me to have much more of a negative impact than, losing the end of a finger.
Right. Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of in agreement. What is the phrase that I'm supposed to be using? An agreement? Yeah, I think
agreement. Agreements is also, I believe, a real word, but I could be making that up.
Dude, I am struggling to English right now. I am just like, like leading up to this podcast recording, it was just a crazy day. Like, I just had so much work to pull off, and then had to go to a one kid soccer practice, coach the other soccer practice, went through a scrimmage, came home, baths, bed, all the stuff, and then the moment they go down, come right back here and get to work. So I'm like, God, I'm struggling right now.
I know your train of thought is not quite on a single track right now, but that's okay. So also, I just looked it up. Agreeance does essentially mean agreement.
That's a word.
It is a noun. It is a word.
Hey, okay, I can
thanks
English.
To the internet. I can English so hard.
All right. So that's good. So situation number 3, we're gonna bring it down a little bit. Probably something similar, something simpler, probably much more common. Okay, you're at the playground with your kids, maybe 5-year-olds, right?
Right.
And you notice that one other kid is being a little bit aggressive with your kid, right? They're all just playing. Parents are all along the side of the playground on the benches, just chit-chatting, doing their thing, scrolling their phones.
Right.
And one kid that you notice is just kind of being a little pest. I can't English, man. Ben, sorry. He's being a pest. He's being a jerk to yours.
Right.
And the first shove, it's kind of like, oh, okay, it's, I guess, kids being kids. You see it happen a couple more times. Couple shoves, couple slaps. Now it starts getting aggressive.
Right.
Okay. You take notice of who the kid is. Not exactly sure who the parent is.
Right.
Okay. But you don't like what's unfolding. What do you do?
Well, I can tell you, I actually ran into a situation like this with our 2-year-old. We were at the park. He was playing on a piece of equipment, or this other kid was playing on a piece of equipment. he went over to play on it with them because he just wanted to play with all the other kids. As soon as he touched it, I hear this little kid just scream no and start literally running at him. Ran right at him and like went to hit him and shove him.
Ooh.
And I mean, he still talks about it now. But I know my reaction in the moment. First of all, they don't tell you that when you become a parent, you may at some point have the urge to shove another toddler.
Oh, 100%,
like,
dude.
And it's you actually like have to really think about controlling that because like I watched a kid in daycare one time like try to poke my son in the eye.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had this sudden urge to just like hip check like a 1.5-year-old.
Dude.
And I was like, I can't do it. I can't touch somebody else's kid. Like that's going to cause all kinds of issues. But in that situation where we saw this kid, you know, get really aggressive with our son, one of the things I found usually works, and I'm not a big yeller, but in those situations, I've heard it said at daycare, where they'll just say very loudly, everybody hands to yourselves. And so it's this you say it like authoritatively enough and it kind of shocks them out of like whatever their aggressive behavior is.
It's like
doesn't
the whole
always
playground.
work. Yeah, the whole playground. Cause like I'm really working on my dad tone where I like lower my voice and project. And my wife gets super embarrassed when I do it because it's like it projects really loudly. Yeah,
some have it and some don't. I don't have it. You know, I could try.
I did the whole. From across the playground, I was like, "Everybody, hands to yourselves."
Oh yeah,
and they just like stopped.
Toned.
And I was like, "Oh man, I just yelled at somebody else's kid." But
no,
it was also because once I figured out who the parents were, because she went back over to them. I realized it was the parents who, like, there was one parent sitting over here on the bench. There was another parent just scrolling their phone and nobody was paying attention. And then I watched this kid and she was doing it to every other kid on the playground. She would walk up and be aggressive with everyone. So it was just a behavioral thing.
Okay, yeah. Not a target attack.
So really the way I handle that situation is like, first of all, try to kind of shock them out of it.
Okay, yeah.
Second of all, we talk to our son. We're like, hey, we know that this is not how we play with other kids. Let's remove ourselves from the situation. So like, we're going to go to a different part of the park because this kid is obviously doing this to everybody else. Let's just step away from it so that we're just not involved in it anymore. And that seemed to work. You know, we like kind of removed him from the situation. We explained to him, at least I did, was like, you know, we know that's not right. We know that's not how we treat people. However, this is, I think, the important part. However, if that happens and you have no other choice, you have the right to defend yourself. But it's like, if you have the space to move away, move away. If you don't have the space to move away and you feel that you're in danger, you can defend yourself. You can push back or like, you know, I hate to say it, but hit back if you absolutely had to. Now, that's a really hard thing to explain to a 2-year-old. They don't really understand. So what we stick to is, you know, just move away from them, find a different space, find a different toy, whatever it is. As he gets older, we'll kind of work through the nuances of that. Yeah, of like the self-defense piece. But, important conversations to have for sure. Because you see when that doesn't happen, the result is an aggressive kid who thinks they own the playground.
You know, so it's funny too because this has happened to us for sure on a couple of occasions, and I think everyone's just different. And I early on had a much more pacifist kind of like, oh, it's okay here, let's just move over here, and then if the kid follows, let's just leave. You know, just like not addressing it. But there's one time where a good friend of ours, it was happening to her son. And she just straight up walked over to them, grabbed them both, and she didn't grab them, but she gathered them together, the bully and her son, and then they just and she like straight addressed them. She didn't care who the parent was or where they even were. She saw something happening. She's like, no, this needs to end. And and like you mentioned earlier, like when something's happened to your kid, you resist that urge to like do something physical, and because it's when it's your family, you're on zone defense. You box out, and then you gotta go and defend what's yours,
Yeah.
So anyway, she went up to the kids, gathered them together, and she addressed the bully in this situation and said,
Yeah.
this is not okay. I see what you're doing. I'm watching you. You better behave yourself. And like straight talk to them as if it was her kid. Right. And in today's society, that seems the whole concept of us as parents being a community, watching out for one another, trying to guide our kids in a direction all collectively, all in one. That seems to be gone. It all seems to be like every man for himself. I'll address my kid. Now that's not for you to say. Right. And I don't know. I'm just not in that mind frame. And as the kids have gotten older, I'm much less of that kind of we're just gonna move over here, and I just address it head on now, and I'm okay with that. And here's the thing: if we're in that situation, and my kid was the bully, and some parent did that, I personally wouldn't feel offended. I'd go up to the parent and say, "Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a chat with them.
I missed it or whatever. Like, thank you for being a part of that. I mean,
thank you.
Like you said, there's a community. There's this idea of a community of parents, and I think we see that more with our close friends, right? Like we have a group of friends that we all have had kids around the same time. We were really close before we all had kids.
With them.
Yeah, they're like people from like our wedding and all that. We're really comfortable.
Yeah, those kids you'll talk to.
Yeah,
set straight.
All those kids, it's like we all parent each other's kids.
Yes.
In big groups, right?
Yes. We have that too.
And I think we kind of miss that when we're out in public because it's like, well, you don't know anybody and stranger danger and this, that, and the other. And there's so many different parenting styles. But I think when you see something that's obviously wrong, I don't think it's wrong to say something. No. It might be embarrassing, but I don't think it's wrong to say something. To say, this behavior is unacceptable. Not just because I don't accept it from my own child, and I don't accept that as a way that my children should be treated, right, by other. And this is kind of like the big stuff, right? The physical harm, the verbal abuse, whatever it is that they might be running into.
Now, I do want to say that, like, okay, so when you are approaching that situation, I don't think it's okay to ever lay a hand on anyone, and anyone else's. And I think, back in the day, 50s, 60s, even 70s or whatever, like it wasn't uncommon for like other parents to like spank the other kid and set them straight. And I'm like, all right, okay. That I guess I'm like, nah, but, I gave
old Stevie down the street a paddling.
Yeah. Right. He was acting out. I was like,
we're not going to do
that. Is that your kid? But so, okay, I'm not cool with that. But when it comes to, you teaching them, in a way that's, in a proper tone, firm, but, firm, but, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. You're
like
trying to get the point across.
Like, don't walk up and scream at my kid and get in his face or whatever, because that then is going to put me on defense and like, okay, now I'm going to step in because it's fine that you want to get a message. I get that there was an issue, but there's a way to do it that is acceptable.
Exactly.
And not. And so, again, when I said what I said to my son and this kid, it was more to, it's almost like, when you get like dogs that are scrapping, right? Sometimes if you yell or clap really loud, it just kind of breaks them out of it because it refocuses their attention.
All right.
And that's really the first step, is like refocus their attention, get them out of whatever sort of mindset they're in, and then have that talk of like, this is inappropriate, this isn't okay. And again, sometimes the answer is move, sometimes the answer is defend yourself, sometimes you kind of find what's good for you and what works for your parenting style.
Yeah, you got to read that room for sure. So I think if it were me, I would do exactly what our friend did. She just took a knee, addressed it head on, why this isn't okay, why it needs to stop. Let's not, let's not let it happen again. You guys are good. Let's go ahead, have fun. And something as simple as that. Address them both as if they're your own kids. I don't think that that's bad. If it happened to my kid, I would be appreciative to the parent. I'd say, thank you. I appreciate that. I missed that. That's on me. So that's just me though. Now, a lot of parents are not cool with that. Okay. So let's take it one step further. All right. You do that. Parent of the kid that you chatted with, that you set straight. Hey, what did you say to my kid? You don't do that. That's not right. That's my child, right? I think that's all too common in today's society. In that situation, for me, and I'll let you hammer this home too. For me though, I would just call it like it is. Like, listen, your kid was out of line. This is what I saw. This is what happened. I chatted with him. Right. I didn't scream. I didn't do anything. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's it. That's all I would do. If they're like, well, that's a problem. Like, listen, I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I didn't lay a hand on him. I saw a situation. Your kid was on top of my kid getting physical.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it, man. And if they don't like it, I'm like, I don't know what else to tell you, but your kid's better off for it.
Yeah. It's, so I agree. You probably have a more measured approach than I do when I get heated. I am, all of the curse words that my son has learned have been from riding in the back seat with me while I'm driving. I've gotten better. But there is a streak that I know is there, where I get upset very quickly. Yeah. But again, I'm a pretty even keeled guy. I'm pretty calm most of the time. I think there are situations where, like in that situation, for example, where somebody comes up, if you're going to come up aggressively, I'm going to try to diffuse the situation. I'm going to say look, this is what happened. I watched your child run up and push my kid. I've seen him do it with 3 or 4 other kids. It happened 3 or 4 times. I let it go the first couple times. I said, and to be completely honest, you're not paying attention to your child because they're bullying other.
Oh, you throw that in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You throw it in there.
You're not paying attention to your kid because they've bullied 4 other kids on this playground. So if you're not going to parent them, then we're going to make sure that they display appropriate behavior.
Hey, yo, I like.
And if you're not okay with that, then maybe you shouldn't be at the park. But that is what it is, and take it how you want.
Oh, that is funny, man.
But it's just I cannot stand that stuff when people blame others for their their failings, their mistakes, whatever. My kid can do no wrong, and therefore you shouldn't speak to them like that. It's your kid is going to grow up entitled and spoiled, and they're going to be a terrible person in the world. So like you said, what just happened to them is probably making them a better human being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dude, I like that you call it. See, see, we have different approaches. So I've done this before. I just call out a fact, this is what happened. I'm sorry that you don't like it. You want to hug it out? And I would just say, do you want to hug it out? And I'd just throw my arms open.
Want a hug?
And then they're just literally just like, what the hell is wrong with you? No. I'm like, all right, bye, I love you. And then I just I just peace out. I love the awkward.
Kill them with kindness, man.
I just kill them with kindness and just make it so weird. That's just me. I just love that. I'll just tell them a fact this is what happened. I'm sorry that you're uncomfortable, but would you like a hug?
Will that make you feel better?
Hell no.
No,
they just get more mad. I'm like, okay, I love you.
That's fine. I'm sorry that you're so upset.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I mean, again, it's do a better job with your kids. Just pay attention. That's it.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it is kind of what it does come down to.
All of this is solved by you paying attention and seeing that your kid is behaving like a turd. Yeah. So if they're being a turd, I'm going to call them a turd.
Oh, man. All right. So those are our 3 awkward situations. I like this game, man. I think we should do this a little bit more often.
It's a good game.
Pose some awkward situations that we experience as parents, because these are real things that actually happen. And let's just talk it out. Let's chat about them. I think moms might maybe have a different approach than dads, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Probably.
It'd be cool to get Dr. Becky on the show one day. She's way too cool and way too big, but it'd be so sick to just field her these questions and Dr. Becky. If you don't know who she is she's popping off right now on Instagram. She has this thing called Good Inside, where she basically just has she coaches parents on how to diffuse kids situations and tantrums, and she has good scripts and stuff like that. But I don't know, it'd be cool to have her on the show.
I'm pretty sure I follow her without realizing that I follow her, because I think I've looked at a bunch of her stuff and helping me deal with toddler tantrums and the constant no's and all of the fun stuff that comes with having a 2.5-year-old.
Oh yeah, she's good, and probably along with not feeding littles. There's another Big Little Feelings.
Big Little Feelings.
Yeah. So that's another
huge resource for me.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It helps calm me down.
Yeah.
When my
Well, that's the thing.
toddler's screaming in my face and I'm like, it's not really me.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like I have to read through it to reassure myself I'm not a terrible dad.
Yeah. So well, that's the thing though. Like what it comes down to is knowledge, right? You in those situations because you don't know what to do in that situation, you feel powerless, and then the powerlessness leads to frustration. But if you just have the knowledge of like, okay, I can kind of understand why he's doing this or she's doing this, then from there you can have just a better mindset and a better, you can lay out a better course of action. It just takes understanding and knowledge though. So
the biggest eye opener for me, and this is like I think a great tidbit for anybody who is parenting toddlers right now, is that kids like I have this expectation for my son, and I know it's unrealistic that he will know that something he's doing is wrong, right? He'll know we don't behave like that. We don't speak like, because I'll say that all the time and I feel like a broken record. Don't yell at me. We don't speak to each other like that, blah, 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 right?
Yep.
But basically until the age between 2 and 7, they have zero impulse control. None. Yeah. They have, if they want to scream, they scream. If they want to throw a tantrum, they throw a tantrum, because between 2 and 7, the part of their brain that says, I can understand the consequences of what I'm doing just doesn't exist.
Right.
So it's so interesting to think about them that way, because it's like you can get stuck in this cycle of thinking that your kid is like doing things to you, or they're doing things for a specific reason, or like they know what they're doing. Truth is they don't. They just act. And it just happens, and then they just sort of figure out like, oh, there's a consequence, or something bad happened, or I got put in timeout or whatever, and then they just move on, and it doesn't really have any impact at that point.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
That for me was like such a big eye opener.
It's just crazy because there's so many situations, especially with our oldest, where you have that question. It was like, don't you know? Like, I taught you that, you know better, right? Why'd you do that then?
Yeah,
they're just like, I don't know. I just did it.
They have no idea why or what caused it. They're just like, no, it seemed like it seemed like a good idea at the time. Like, why not climb up on the dog food container and get the candy down right before dinner? Yeah, I wanted a piece of candy. I could climb this stuff, so I did.
Yeah, I so many times like that's wrong, right, Henry? Yeah, man. So why did you do that, Hen?
Yeah,
because.
Yep.
Damn it! I hate that answer.
I know. Again, it's like, and it really is just because. And my kid has these plastic golf clubs, and like he walked up and he cocked it back like he was gonna hit me with it. And I was like, if you hit me with that golf club, I'm going to take it away, because like we did this yesterday, and the exact same thing happened. And he looked at me, and he pulled his arm back a little further, and then he just let fly and hit me right in the leg. And I said, okay. So I took it away and I put it up on the shelf. And he just threw a tantrum. Yeah. But he was like, my golf club. And in my head, I'm going, you knew what was going to happen. I told you the outcome of the situation.
And they still do it.
And you still did it. And it was just like he either thought it was going to be funny or whatever, or he didn't think at all. It just seemed like a good idea at the time.
It's so, man, and it's so hard coaching the soccer team that I'm coaching right now, because it happens so many times. And the thing is, like, I want to like have that reaction, and I see the parents over there, and I'm just like, all right, how do I do this and make sure I'm staying on the right line here, that I'm not crossing any sort of boundaries. So I'm always towing that gap. It's so tough. But like, I mean, just today, man, these kids. I have these kids. We're just doing a quick scrimmage. It's 4 kids on the field, 2 on the sideline, and I'm trying to rotate them in and out. The 2 of that were on the sideline. They come in, and they just start like spinning around, goofing off, doing crazy, and their parents are right there. And I'm like, listen, guys, and I'm like, do you want to play soccer or do you want to dilly dally? Because if you don't want to play soccer, get off the field right now. Right. Okay. I need you to stay focused. Let's go. And I said it in that exact tone, just like how it is. I'm not mad, Ben. I'm just, but yeah, I said it.
Coach Andrew.
There you go. That's me right there. As a little taste. And parents are right there, and they're just like, "Oh no, we want to play soccer." I just did a quick glance with one of the dads of the kids. Just give me a quick head nod, and just like, "We're good. We're good."
Did he give you the respect nod?
Yep. A little. That's it. Yep. That's it. If you're watching on YouTube, Ben did it and he got it. Nailed
respect nod.
Yeah, we know what that is. Just a little tip of the chin down.
Somebody said that the other day. They said guys have 2 ways of saying hi. If I know you, it's head up. Like, what's up? If I don't know you or I'm showing you respect, it's head down.
Yep. Yeah,
Every
that's
single
it.
time. And I thought about it and I was
That's
like,
it.
that's exactly it. I was
That's
like,
what
if
we
it's a
need.
respect thing, I nod down. If it's what's up, I know you, it's head up.
Yeah, that's just how it is. That's how it is. Oh man! All right. Well, so before we move on to the next thing, this conversation that you had with your wife, we just want to thank a quick sponsors of the Dad Verb YouTube channel as well as this podcast. Newton Baby. Newton's been making sleep solutions for kids and well, for babies for a few years now, and they recently started to roll out some new products here. A washable, breathable mattress that sleeps really, really cool for kids. They've got really cool bassinets, and they're rolling out like playpens. Like they're really expanding. Their OG was the crib mattress that all of our kids have slept on. Our daughter's sleeping on it right now, and just absolutely have loved Newton as a brand. And I'm really grateful for them to be able to sponsor this because they've been a part of our family. I hope they are part of yours. Ben, do you have any Newton products?
I'd have to look back through. I think we might have a Newton mattress. I'm trying to remember if we do or not. And
dude, we're about to hook you up, man. We're gonna solve
I think
that.
we've got. I'm trying to think if we have any other stuff. I think we have one of their mattresses, but I have to look at the tags. It's been so long now since I've looked at it.
Well, Newton has you covered from newborn all the way up through kids. They've got twin mattresses, and I would hope that they roll out some full and queens one day. But if you're looking for amazing, safe baby products, go ahead and check out newtonbaby.com. I'm going to have that linked in the show notes, as well as in the description of the YouTube video. Thanks to Newton Baby for sponsoring Dad Verb. We appreciate you guys, and we encourage you guys to go check them out. Add their stuff to your registry. Got legit stuff there. Ben, I've been shuffling Pokemon cards. Can you hear this?
No, surprisingly. Yeah. I've been kind of testing out these mics.
Yeah.
And the rear sound pickup isn't great because they're fairly directional.
They're directional, yeah. These are good mics.
Pretty good.
These are good mics.
The only thing I found is if I go to type, it picks up the keyboard echo pretty distinctly. But
Gotcha.
yeah, no, I haven't been able to hear that at all.
That's good. Yeah, I have like this nervous twitch thing. I play like competitive like Pokemon cards, and I do this thing where I just like shuffle in my hand, and I can't stop doing it. I like doing it.
Like a cool old timey poker player.
Yeah, literally. You know how like the poker players are like divide the chips in half, and then they do like the like riffle shuffle type thing.
It's the coolest thing.
It's so sexy, dude.
Cool. It's so cool.
So legit. I don't know how to do that. I want to learn how to do that.
Can't
so
do it.
bad.
It looks awesome.
Oh, it looks so legit. But anyway, I'm glad you can't hear this. Anyway, let's move on to our final little topic here. Ben, what was this conversation that you were having with your wife?
Yeah, so this is I don't know, call this dad blindness, call this male privilege, whatever you want to call it, but I was driving the car the other day and my wife was sitting next to me and I came to this sort of epiphany, right? Mm-hmm. As much as I, am excited to be an engaged dad, to be a part of my kids' lives, to be a part of raising my children and making those decisions, I feel like the bar for someone to be considered a good or even a great father is so much lower than the bar for someone to be considered a great mother. And kind of a prime example, I think in a podcast episode or two ago, we talked about like I like to wear my kids a lot. Now I can't wear my son because he's too big, but I wear my daughter pretty much everywhere. And we got so many comments about, oh, it's great to see a dad involved in raising their kids. Oh, my husband would never do that. Yeah. It's great to see you carrying your baby around like that. And it seems like such a simple thing. And what it got me thinking about was that, that's a very straightforward thing, right? Like I'm carrying my kid around in a store, not really a big deal. Because if you switched me with my wife and put her in that situation where she's walking around wearing our daughter and walking with our son, I guarantee not a single person would look at her and say, "Mom, you're doing a great job. It's so great to see you taking such good care of your kids. It's so great to see you so involved with your children." We talked about this before we started recording the episode, right? How many times do you take, one or two or, multiple kids out at once and people look at you like you are just God's gift to mankind because you are willing to take your children out without your wife,
Yeah,
right?
for
Without your
for
spousal
mom,
support.
it's the expectation, and for dad,
Right.
it's the exception.
Right, right. And that really kind of struck a chord with me where it's like, I can really do kind of the bare minimum as a dad and be considered a great dad. Whereas, moms, I see this through her is like there's so many things that she stresses about, thinks about, feels like maybe she's being judged on whether or
Mhm.
not she's doing a good job with X, Y, or Z. Like, are you feeding your kids good enough food? Are you doing this with them? Are you doing these activities? Are you doing this developmental stuff?
Mhm.
And it's like if she doesn't do those things,
Yeah.
she's just considered like kind of a slacker. But like if dad didn't do those things, it's just like, oh, well, that's not really his job. And so I
Mhm.
wanted to get this conversation going and just get your thoughts on it as well of like, it's great for my ego for for people to say like, "Oh, you're such a good dad." And it's like I don't really have to try that hard to be
Yeah.
considered a good dad by society.
Yeah.
But moms have to try so much harder because the bar is so much higher on what makes a great mom versus a great dad.
I mean, it's a societal thing. I mean, like it's up until recently the traditional societal norms. Dad goes to work. He's out of the house all day. Mom, cooks, cleans, takes care of the kids, and then dad comes home. He's tired and he doesn't want to do anything else, but he expects dinner, and then dinner's there. They eat, and then I don't know. Maybe they would both put the kids to bed, or just mom puts them to bed. I don't know. I was just like,
Yeah.
that's just how it was. Today it's just different. I mean, jobs aren't factory line jobs. We've got
Yeah.
creative jobs that you can work from home. You can do. There's so many more ways that you can actually be engaged and be a part of the family. So I mean, for me, there's just no excuse. Like, why can't you step up and do some of those things?
Mhm.
It shouldn't, because, and I also think that, like, as guys, sometimes there's like a little bit of like, oh boy, you got to tread this conversation lightly, because it
Yeah.
gets tough. Like, some guys, and I felt this too. Like, you come home and you're just like, man, I did this and I did this. Like, did you really do that much today?
Mhm.
And you have that question. And it's like, well, being a mom is a very, very difficult, tedious, stressful, painful job that
Mhm.
you're dealing with, like, coworkers that for the most part suck. I mean, you love them, but like those are crappy
Yeah.
coworkers.
They're real
Like,
mean to you a lot,
oh, they're mean
and
to you.
then,
Like, they're
like,
so
they're sweet to
demanding.
you every now and then.
Right. And it's like, but like the social element of your job might be a little bit better. Social element of your wife's job, your partner's job.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to take into account, like, it really sucks. It's an absolute grind. Like, it's not easy. And I still think that we as a society just we're not there yet. It's like
No.
recognizing that. I think nowadays a little bit more. Like, there's so many memes on, like, Instagram, just like, and TikTok, just like talking about how just it's just funny, how hard it
Yeah.
is, and it's a little bit more like, understanding of that. But like, I think that's a big part of it. It's just like, people just don't understand how difficult it is. It
Right.
is for mom. Um, but a lot of guys. I mean, I know a lot of guys that are still very much in that traditional kind of like,
Mhm.
mom does all this stuff.
Yeah.
I come home and do all the thing,
Yeah.
and their
Takes care of the
roles.
home, I earn, the big paycheck and
Right.
whatever.
And I've done my duty. That's it.
Right.
I
Yeah,
just,
my duty stops when I walk through the door at, 6 or 7 or whatever it is.
again, that's just a societal thing. I'm just not in that frame of mind, but a majority of people aren't. And that's why
Mhm.
those comments, they come across, and that you hear oh, wow, you're such an involved dad. Oh, you're
Yeah.
just like, am I really? Like,
Right.
my wife was like doing a ton of stuff today. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I'm just, yeah, it.
Well, it's more when I started to think about it, like, the number of decisions that get made by her on behalf of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Or, right now she has our daughter who's breastfeeding every, 2 hours to 3 hours, right? She's constantly worried about, am I making enough? Is she eating enough? What does what are we going to do for our son here, here, and here? She's thinking about activities. She's like, planning family vacation. She's doing all these things are like running around in her head all the time.
Mm.
And I always feel, and this is one of the things that I struggle with personally is I know my mind doesn't work like that. Like I kind of need like clear decision points where I'm like, okay, this is the thing we're deciding on. We've kind of thought it through. It's a yes or a no, right? For me, and this is where we kind of run into like, if we're going to get in an argument, this is usually where it comes from, is like, she'll give me 100 different options because those are all the options she's considering. And I'm like, no, I need like the 2 or 3 that sound like the best.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even necessarily want to hear about how we got to this decision point.
Yeah, just narrow it down for me.
Just narrow it down and I can go, this is what I'm deciding on. These are the, cost benefit analysis, whatever. And then these are the choices we're making.
It's like that's why Costco is so successful.
Right.
It's like you've got the Walmart, like 15 shampoos, and you have Costco. You have 2 options.
Yeah.
Pick one.
You have 2 and you can buy a pallet.
Yeah, exactly.
But one of the things that I struggle with is I get overwhelmed by all of that decision making. Mm-hmm. But she's doing that kind of stuff every day. And so that was kind of what prompted my thought of like, she's doing all of this. I don't necessarily think about it or even have to think about it. But she's really taking a lot of that burden on. And the same thing, with just caring for the kids. Like I do as much as I possibly can, but like I can't feed the baby pretty much, the majority of the time. It's just on her. Mm-hmm. So, she kind of carries the weight of a lot of that. And, when you read these mom boards, you read, any of these posts by, some of these mom accounts on Instagram where it's like they feel, especially, what is it? The beige moms. Have you ever heard that term?
Oh, dude. Yeah. Wait,
the beige moms that have
beige
like
mom, the beige cardigan?
Like the beige moms that have like the perfect Montessori house, and like neutral colors and wooden toys and all that.
And
like that seems to be like the standard, right? Of like if you're good, you only feed your kid like organic this and whole grain that and whatever. And it's like none of that is real. Like our living room is a disaster right now. And I know that weighs on everybody, but it's like those are the trade-offs. And like the expectation versus the reality is like the expectation, the bar for moms is so high. And then the expectation and the bar for dads is, again, still pretty low.
It is.
I think we're trying to push that, but it's still like, again, I can be considered such a great dad by like not really having to try that hard, which is kind of sad.
It is. And I mean, I wish there was a solve for it, but there's nothing. It's just a societal thing. And the best we can do is just show up, just show up, do our thing and encourage the guy. And the thing, I feel like the guys who are listening to us are not part of, the crowd that we mentioned. I mean, that's, it's just different. The guys who are listening to this are, they're probably stepping up. They're doing their part. And if anything, they probably feel like they're too involved. I mean, we talked about that in like the last episode. So,
if you're listening to podcasts about how to be a better dad, like, I mean, you're probably not part of the problem.
Right, seriously, like literally, like you're actively finding the solution. Like you're probably doing a great job. You're an engaged father. Good for you, man. You're present. You're active with the family. But I don't know what the solve is. But no, you're right. Like there is 100% this bar, a very high bar. It's just set for moms. You have to have breastfed. You have to have had a vaginal delivery. If you didn't do that, you're that's not, you're a bad mom. If you haven't done all Montessori everything and organic everything and limit screen time to a perfect, 30 minutes a day, you're doing it all wrong. Moms, that's it. That's the bar. You got to do it if you're wrong. If dad, buys groceries for the week. Wow.
Knocked it out of the park.
Wow.
Knocked it out of the park.
Like, bro, come on.
Grocery store, did a couple errands for the kids, bought some diapers, crushed it.
I know. I was just like, I don't know. It's sad, but that's just what it is. Yeah. All we're here to say is don't agree with it. Okay. We don't agree with it. And, the best that we can do is just keep pushing content, just keep pushing the message of being involved, stay active, stay involved, and share the burden. It's a 50-50 share. You can do your best. I mean, obviously, we all got jobs. You do your best. Some guys are military, and they're off and they're abroad. Some guys work odd hours. Some guys are traveling constantly. I get it. Like it's just not even. It's I feel like I'm blessed. I got easy, man. I got make YouTube videos. You know, I try to make TikTok videos. I suck at it. But like, you know, I'm trying, you know, I have time, I have ample time to be with the family. Right.
Yeah.
So,
but I feel like the big thing is like your presence when you're there. How do you show up when you are present? Right?
That's what
how
it is.
How do you show up when you're, you know, you're giving your time? Like one of the things, you know, we've talked about that I struggle with is like putting my phone down. Like
That's
making
the
sure
biggest thing
put
for me
my
too.
phone away.
That's all of us,
I'm
man.
fully like in that space. And I think
That's
part
all
of
of
that
us.
is like, yeah, I feel part of that is like if you're creating content, you're constantly looking, but then it kind of becomes an excuse of like, then you end up just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
exactly.
funny.
And
But
I'm
it's
playing
like,
Marvel Snap. I'm playing through another one.
right.
And it's like, you know what? It's like 5 o'clock. We should be like doing family time, dinner time, this and
Yeah.
that. I'm like, what am I doing? So yeah, like
Yeah.
being intentional about putting the freaking phone down.
Yeah.
That's a big struggle for me.
Yeah, it's putting the phone down, getting up, moving. You know, it's how do you show up in those moments? And I think it was I forgot what it was. I think it might be Jerry Seinfeld or somebody that said there is no such thing as quality time. That all time is quality time. And so that like even the garbage time, you're laying on the couch, you're watching a show, you're doing whatever with your kids. It's all quality time.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Like it's none of it's garbage time, none of it's throwaway because you never know how much you have.
At this point in society, I feel like all time is quality time as long as it's just like not on your phone. Okay, that's it. It's just like
100%.
just don't be on your phone. And hell, you even playing video games with your kids. Gosh, man, even that's fine. Just don't be on your phone, man. I think that's the biggest thing. Anyway, I don't know if I articulated any of my thoughts well. I feel like I'm just like out of it right now. But all I can say is like, guys, do your best to just be present. It's, you know, obviously you do mundane things, you're going to get praised for it. Moms just don't get that. It's sad. That's the reality. But, you know,
I'm gonna take this as a challenge. I want to go out there. I'm gonna see if I can find like, and hopefully this doesn't come across weird, but I'm gonna see if I can find a mom and like hype her up for like doing a good job, for doing just like regular stuff.
How?
Like if I see a mom out with like multiple kids, be like, look, I know what you're doing is hard. You're doing a really good job. Like just real basic stuff, like basic stuff that we see in society every day.
Yeah.
That like nobody gets the recognition for.
Yeah.
Because even if it just helps, like, you know, if there's one mom out there that's like struggling that day or like having a rough time, like if that helps her feel a little bit better, then like cool. That's been like a good.
That's a
thing
good
for
challenge. Unless she goes, the man with the beard tried to molest me,
unless,
and then you're
unless
screwed,
it
and then you're in
comes
trouble.
like, I get kicked out by security. Be like, I was just trying to hype her up. I swear.
Yeah, keep your distance, man.
Sorry, man. Get banned from Costco forever.
So I guess the challenge is be nice. Be nice to someone, huh?
Yeah, be nice.
Oh man, and I think one thing, we'll wrap this up here in a second, but I've seen parents like at airports, at Target, just like having a rough time with their toddler. I think parents in duress being, and I've done this too, just like go up to them and be like, yo, I get it, man. I get it.
Yeah.
You're going to be all right. It's just like empathize with them for a second.
Yep.
And just be like, because they're feeling so much like adrenaline and intensity. You feel like the world's eyes are on them. Their kid's freaking out. If you ever see that, go up to, whether it's dad or a mom, just go up to them and be like, hey, I get it, man.
Yeah, you got this.
Tough.
It's okay.
I know.
I know this
Kids
is
are tough,
hard,
man.
but
So that's all you need, man. Anyway, well, guys, thank you guys for listening to this. Thanks again to our sponsors, Newton Baby. If you want to go check out Newton Baby stuff, whether it's their OG mattress, their bassinets, kids mattress, check out newtonbaby.com. Thanks again to them for sponsoring this channel and the podcast. We'll catch you guys on next week's episode. And again, subscribe to the new YouTube channel. It's the Dad Verb Podcast. All the podcasts are going to be hosted there, not on the Dad Verb main channel. Okay, so go to the YouTube podcast. The Dad Verb Podcast on YouTube if you want to subscribe there. We'd appreciate that. So we're going to be hosting those things. And we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we'll catch you in the next one. Be good, dads. Take care.